Michael King, after his stint on the IL, is returning to the Padres rotation. Let's plan a coronation. Hopefully this one, we can avoid the Game of Thrones style bloodshed, except unless it's other teams' batters. But all in all, it's very good news. What's going on, everybody? Christian Pedersen back with another episode of Game of Thrones. Back with another episode of Padres Digest, the show where a couple of us dudes do a vaguely unprofessional job of talking Padres on the internet. We appreciate you following along. Drop a comment on anything you want to talk about Padres-wise. If you could hit the subscribe button, it would be much appreciated. If not, zero worries. We got to talk about the San Diego Padres getting this back. Look at that. I'm no longer, I used to point in the other direction. I'm getting better. You're getting better. We're all getting better. Padres are getting better. Michael King, and these numbers are being added back into the San Diego Padres rotation. As of right now, us recording this, he has been announced sort of informally that he is going to be pitching on Saturday's game against the Red Sox. This is his most recent quote, with AJ Cassavell saying that he is 100%. As of right now, the Padres have not officially made the announcement. So David Morgan or somebody from the back end of that bullpen is going to be moved down. Insert blank name there. I don't think the details on that move impact the rest of this video, particularly given that we're not taking a controversial starter out and replacing with a different starter. We're taking a bullpen guy out who is not one of our four horsemen of the apocalypse, and we are adding in our ace starters. So King says he's at 100%. I want to take him at face value. I want to also I am a huge Padres homer. I work for a Padres blog. I am a Padres person. So my optimism is like, yes, let's take him at face value. He's 100%. Every athlete's going to want to say that they're back, going to want to say that they're ready, going to say all of this. So let's take it at let's be cautious and say he's at least 8. Let's say he's at 85 to 100%, somewhere in that. I would say that given that they didn't run him out for a second rehab start after his first minor league start, to me says though that he's not hiding anything left, because it was a nerve injury that the prognosis was always just once he's ready to sustain multiple outings worth of baseball. And it wasn't so much that there was like structural damage that we were waiting to heal or that needed repair or anything like that. And him throwing 3+ innings in the minors, waiting the 5 days, giving the thumbs up, saying, hey, I've done my normal prep schedule and I'm ready to go again. He's back. And again, whether or not he goes straight back to this form or needs a couple of days to get back to this form, or a couple of outings to back, I don't know. We'll see this together. You guys drop a comment. Let me know what kind of leash you're giving for Michael King. I'm assuming we are not going to bring him back. He has a bad one and we're going to give up on him. But I would hope pretty quickly he gets back to this kind of an order. The Padres have a very intense next couple of weeks. They play the Los Angeles Dodgers. They're playing the Red Sox right now, as of us recording this. That's when King's going to come back. We saw them last night against Pivetta. They are a great offensive team, so that is a good test for King. Past that, the Dodgers and the Giants are the majority of our next 2 weeks of games. Here is where the NL West stands right now. So baseball could potentially baseball, and we could split some series, and this could look the exact same in 2 weeks when I'm talking to you again. And if it does, okay, we're all doing this for nothing, and we're just treading water and whatnot. But I firmly believe, just kind of given where we're at, with the momentum picking up for the Padres, with Michael King coming back, with the team hitting better. I mean, this is I said this was a pitching video, but it's still worthy to talk about that the pitching is coming back to now have lineups like this. So our pitchers no longer have to shoestring it and be like, I had to let the bullpen get the win because we needed to come back late in the game because we had to wait till Manny or someone came up in the order. With lineups that look something like this and now have largely the issues filled in the catcher, left field, and DH spot. We could still finagle out some exact little permutations, but with those positions largely figured out and the run support and the offensive support in general seemingly on the rise, I would like our chances next couple weeks anyway. with the Padres heading into these kinds of series. But I extra think and am extra optimistic that given that we can, and maybe we can't slate it exactly like this, but I like King now as our one. I think he goes back to being the one. I think Pivetta and Darvish, either one of those could be the 2 or the 3. Pivetta, the better year. Darvish, the more intangibles of the resume. He's a big game guy. He's our veteran, used to be our ace. You like him spiritually as a 1A, 1B sort of ace on the rotation. So either those guys, 2 or 3. Cease at 4, Nasty Nestor at the 5, and or whoever ends up taking that last spot. If we want to see JP Sears again, I don't. You might drop a comment on that, but that's where I think that the lineup or the rotation is, which I love that I don't like that rotation. I love that rotation. And heading into these next couple series, like I said, against the Giants and the Dodgers, the Dodgers are the more important of the games. The Giants are also important games, though, because the Giants, I think, could be trap games against the Dodgers. If you spend all your bullets emotionally and X's and O's wise against the Dodgers, then you trap game yourself against the Giants. So let's call them equally big games. Also equally big because they're NL West, and we want to claim that we are the best in the NL West. So in the next 2 weeks, out of the frying pan into the fire, specifically for Michael King, but I think that potentially we could see this sort of be the actual, like the pieces all finally fitting together. Because once King is off the IL, really the only guy left on there of any sort of note is Joe Musgrove. And Musgrove is a fun story that he could come back this year, but it's not really like any of us have been banking on, once we get Java Joe back, things are unlocked. It would just be a nice piece. It would be a fun story, but realistically, and I see most of you guys in the comment section agreeing with this, that he needs to wait until next year to be a quantifiable piece of the puzzle. But right now, though, it feels like if King is back and we've got Red Sox, Giants, Dodgers, Padres have a real, it's a test here, but it's a test that if they come out, and you only got to win 2 out of 3 on these, if you come out winning all of these series, I think by the end of August, Padres could be considered the best team in the National League, could be the best team in baseball. I don't see why that's hyperbolic when you, like I said, when you have Cease at the 4 in your rotation, you have O'Hearn and Liriano and Fermin and everybody's hitting, and you've got bench guys that you can set. Like, now that we are back to having depth, plus that rotation, plus that bullpen, show me where there's a hole. Show me where there's a gap. Show me where there's an issue in anything the Padres have. And I think that this is all a trickle down now of the culmination of all those trades that AJ did, but getting King back off of the IL just really, to me, is going to be like it's expected to be good because he's King and he's coming back, but it's unexpectedly how big. It's not going to be a 1-to-1 of just the days that Michael King is pitching. Do the Padres see a boost? I think there is going to be a great trickle down on the rest of this rotation, getting slotted into more favorable games. Bullpen not having to always bail out 2 or 3 starters every time through the rotation. So all of that being said, I think that we should all be pumped. Today's a red letter day. Big, bright, bold. It's happening. The Padres, we get Michael King back finally today, and everything hopefully keeps on getting better. Drop a comment on anything below. Hit the subscribe button if you want to. If not, no worries. We'll always be here talking Padres. Talk to you soon, Friar Faithful.